Welcome to Toastmasters Pathways 101, Pathways Value Proposition. You may have remembered from a previous video that I did that Pathways is the curriculum for Toastmasters International and includes 5 core competencies that they propose to include within their curriculum, which are first, public speaking; secondly, interpersonal communication; 3, strategic leadership; 4, management; and 5, confidence is the result from that work on the other competencies. There are 11 paths to help us with this. We have dynamic leadership, effective coaching, engaging humor, innovative planning, leadership development, motivational strategies, persuasive influence, presentation mastery, strategic relationships, team collaboration, visionary communication. Now, this is so far described the official capacity, but I also want to share my personal value that I've gained from my time in Toastmasters and Pathways in particular for the sake of this video. It's come really in 4 areas, which I'm going to describe. The first one is what I see as the Toastmasters learning model. Secondly, in public speaking. Third, communication. You're going to notice it's very similar to the 5 core competencies, but again, I just asked myself, what specific benefits did I gain? This is what I'm sharing with you. Then finally, in leadership. The Toastmasters learning model that I learned about was actually in doing my high performance leadership. I've been in Toastmasters for 11 years, and that's when I first came across this way of looking at things, and it was specifically do, learn, teach. And at first that's a little counterintuitive. You might think, well, you want to learn how to do something and then start to do it, and then if you're so inclined, share it with others. But I think that this is quite ingenious in this model that is not quite so intuitive initially, because to me it provides what I would call a contextual process learning model. In other words, you start doing it, you sort of warm up those creative juices, and you decide what in fact you're going to do based on your own interests. We're going to talk about the versatility a little bit later, but I find this fascinating. It's been extremely beneficial to me personally. And then the 5th core competency is confidence, and I think this is number 1 actually in terms of the Toastmasters learning model. When you have a place that you can stretch yourself and you have supportive clubs, supportive members around you, I think there is no better way to develop confidence than, in fact, to push beyond your comfort zone, perhaps fall flat on your face a few times like I certainly have, or in a more comfortable fashion, but stretching beyond the comfort zone and being supported in that process. Incredible for developing confidence. Public speaking. It has really helped me to speak more clearly and confidently. Just the sheer experience each week for 11 years, it really becomes a focus, a top-of-mind experience. And with that, the experience, I should say, the clarity and confidence really comes along quite well. Secondly, developing gestures, stage movement. Now that's a little hard to demonstrate on video here, but one thing that comes to mind is, for example, I might want to emphasize a point, and this could be a gesture I would use to say, this is important. Maybe I want to compare and say, well, I was thinking about doing this, but then on the other side, I might do that. You might see how I was using that gesture, or perhaps I could come forward to really make a point, or I could go back if I want to be a little bit more pensive and let you think about it for a moment. Just fascinating to me. Connecting with your audience is something that I've learned a tremendous amount in this process. One thing that comes to mind is when you know who your audience is, when you know what they care about and you align that with your topic and what you care about, that is an incredible opportunity to connect with your audience. And without that thought process, it can be actually rather difficult to connect with your audience, has been my experience. Communication, understanding effective and supportive feedback. This is so huge. As a matter of fact, I think it's particularly facilitated by developing listening skills. If I could put it into one short statement, there's a reason that we have one of these and two of these. When in doubt in Toastmasters, I've learned it very effective to just stop and listen to what someone is saying. It is so effective in connecting with people of different communication and leadership styles. How can you get to know what their communication style is, or even leadership style for that matter, without stopping and listening and watching? In getting a chance to lead, I've found that collaboration has been incredibly rewarding, super fun, and quite effective throughout projects like your high performance leadership or other projects. You get a chance to look at terms like vision, mission, purpose. It can really enhance this process in learning to lead. And then getting an existential result of planning fun, organized, meaningful events, both in Toastmasters, and there are other opportunities to do it outside of Toastmasters. Pathways itself includes, as you've seen in other videos I'm sure, and one of my introductory videos, it has 11 paths, as we've been talking about a little bit. There are 5 levels within each path, and it's really a combination of required and elective projects. And what I've found with this is it's quite personalized and it's versatile to your interests. You might have interest in, or maybe you have a project that you're working on at your place of employment, and that is taking up a lot of your time. But yet, you know Toastmasters is important to you. They have projects within Pathways where you could give either a presentation at work or you could lead an event at work, but as long as you're getting evaluated by fellow Toastmasters, sort of an after action report, if you will, and maybe even in story format of how that went in a club meeting, that actually works within the Pathways curriculum, and that's actually new to Toastmasters. That's not typical from the older curriculum. And I'm speaking now to those that have been in Toastmasters for a little while. It's different than that, and I think it's an enhancement personally. Here's an example. This is my first path. This was leadership development, and it will always hold a special place in my heart. Just want to run a couple of quick examples by you. We talked about that person that might have a project at work that they've been leading or have been putting together, and you might notice in looking at this slide the level 5, demonstrating expertise. There's a project, it's required, it's called Manage Successful Events. We had a member in our club that really was just stuck on level 5 for a while. They were thinking, I need to put together this elaborate event for the club, and it just wasn't coming together. And then we had a conversation and realized, wow, actually, this member was already doing this at work. He was passionate about it. So he had a chance to implement what he was doing at work with his event, bring it into the Toastmasters curriculum. Actually, in developing this little playlist, I personally might combine this in, there's a project about writing a compelling blog, and that actually extends out into, I could look at this and see if this might apply to a YouTube channel and get a chance to talk about the trials and tribulations and get some feedback how I can improve even more. There are many other instances, but this is just a bird's eye view, and perhaps anecdotally, I wanted to share some of the personal benefits that I've derived in working within the Pathways curriculum in Toastmasters. Fellow Toastmasters, thank you so much for watching and your contribution. If you have questions or comments, please leave that in the comment section of the video.